thank you very much for you just have an amazing event celebrating the fifth anniversary of this amazing organization, and you hear the panel talk about the impact that is having on the ground from concept to reality. And you just came back from Angola. So talk about the what you saw. You've traveled across the continent. So give us what you saw in Angola and what you've seen across the African continent, the impact that this organization, your agency is having.
Well, first, thanks for the opportunity to talk. Africa is, as a region, incredibly important for the Development Finance Corporation. In the 5 years that we've been in operation, it's been a place where we've done a huge number of deals. And that's country by country, community by community. And you're right, Angola is a premier example of that. I was there last week with President Biden. We had the chance to highlight some of our work. But really what the bilateral visit to Angola was about was the trajectory of our relationship with Angola, which just a few years ago, there was no investment or economic relationship between the Development Finance Corporation, the United States government, and Angola. But working with Angola as partners, we've been able to invest, in the case of the Libido Atlantic Railway, $553 million in order to rebuild and operate that railway for the benefits of the whole Libido corridor, which has follow-on investment opportunities, whether in food processing and storage, water systems, opportunities for small business, opportunities in renewable energy. This is across the U.S. government, the private sector, but it's really by being partners with Angola, with Angolan businesses, we can bring benefits to the people, and it helps the United States too. It's a win-win for both of our countries.
So talk about how you de-risk for the American private sector to invest on the African continent as well as in other developing economies.
Yeah, so we have a suite of tools, whether it's loans, loan guarantees, technical assistance, political risk insurance, or equity investments that allow us to help mobilize capital from the private sector and mitigate risk for them in order to make investment opportunities flourish. We're about bringing capital to the private sector, crowding in capital to the private sector. Of course, we want to do it in a high standard way, high quality, high standard for labor, environmental, social conditions, transparency, and situations where we know the customer and have vetted our partners. But once we get through all that, and it's important to do that, we want to have projects which are private sector driven, demanded by the country where we operate. We're not imposing anything on people. It's a demand signal from the private sector where we operate. And these, as a result, are projects that are long-term financially sustainable and bring benefits to local communities.
As it's helped the DFC opt for renewal.
Yeah.
What is your message to Congress? And you've had throughout today from panels that the impact that this is having on the ground. How will you like this to be made permanent as a vehicle, as one of the tools that the U.S. government use in development, in investing in developing countries?
Well, that was really the story you heard all throughout today at our conference. It's about how the Development Finance Corporation is fulfilling its mission, the mission that the United States Congress gave it, to make development impact in countries around the world and at the same time advance U.S. foreign policy. It's based on a belief that good development, economic growth, stability, and opportunity for people around the world, that's good for the U.S. taxpayer, that's good for the U.S. foreign policy. It promotes stability, private sector-led financing, private sector-led growth is long-term financially sustainable, and it carries our values about entrepreneurship, economic opportunity, long-term viability. We're not talking about burdening countries with debt at the sovereign level, putting them under pressure in that way. We're talking about finding projects which stand on their own, have a for-profit logic, and that by us providing financing, will hopefully bring even more private sector financing on top of it. Because at the end of the day, it's really the private capital markets which are the biggest and the deepest, and they will provide the long-term financing for projects around the world that will help fill the infrastructure gap and meet the needs of people around the world for power, for water, for healthcare, for infrastructure, and opportunity through small business. That's really what DFC is all about.
As you look at my last question to you, as you look back on what you have accomplished and this administration has accomplished in the last 4 years, you're handing over. Talk to me about what are you most proud of?
So really, if I think about the legacy that this administration is leaving behind, when we started, DFC was only a year old, not even a year old. And it had really not fully launched because 5 years ago we were in the middle of the pandemic, we were in the middle of a change of government, there was a lot of confusion and chaos because of just the environment, remote work, etc. Since then, we've built an organization that I think will keep delivering the kind of benefits we were just talking about, that will keep generating more and more deals, do great business development, that continues the relationship we have with countries around the world, and that's going to be a lasting legacy for this administration, because it's not just one deal. I mean, we did 181 deals last year. We've done hundreds of deals over the last 5 years. It's more about, are we creating an engine for further economic growth and further development opportunities that help advance the strategic interests of the United States and serve our partners. And I think we've done that. And I'm so proud of that. I'm super proud of that.
Okay, thank you very much for talking with me.